is Mr. Richard Chubtoad Sheldon. What's going on, sir?
Are we pissing our pants yet?
It's PP Pants City, I think. Also, Mr. Daryl Taylor.
Hello, I'm going to be Mr. Settle from now on.
Subtle, with a touch of nuance.
Yes.
We're also joined by Mr. Aaron Newworth.
Hey guys, I brought the markers, so we're all good.
And back from his walkabout, his semi-retirement from the show, but he's not gone, Mr. Jim Dietz.
I had to come back to accept my award. Spirit Award. So thank you.
Welcome back. We missed you. You took a little break from fear, but it's okay. It's all right. You're back
A little
with us
break
again.
for fear. He just threw his hands up and walked away.
After all the pathos and tension of Flight 468, my heart couldn't take it anymore.
The Buster rating listers took a break too because they came back in full force this week.
Yeah, we usually like 6 or 7 here. We had a 28 on this one. Yes, that was,
That's like a 500% increase.
yeah, we had like 5 new members joined the group today too. It was like, all right, it's back. The show's back.
They're coming home. They're coming home.
Well, a lot of the current listeners, a lot of them have been praising all the nuance we catch in these episodes. That's why we got new members.
Exactly. It's true. You're right.
That's
You're
so
right.
true.
But what's interesting about the fear stuff was we were getting more comments about us being entertaining less than than the actual show itself.
We have the best group. We really do. It's like they even said a couple people wrote, we stopped watching the show, but we still listen to the podcast. It's like we love hearing you guys talk about it. It's like, all right, that's
It's all
compliment to
the
us, right?
subtle nuances and all that stuff that we get into each episode. Just the little things.
Right, exactly. We usually catch it all. So I had a lot of fun doing Fear. I know. Listen, it was an emotional journey, but it was a good run, and I'm really glad to be back to The Walking Dead. Let's just put it that way. And
We were soldiers. We held the line.
We did.
We walked away.
we kept it
Yeah,
together.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to our opinions on this episode. I think it's probably well known, at least to the listeners so far, that like or the ones that are on the Facebook group. I'm not a big fan of this episode, but I liked it a lot more than most of the episodes of Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, absolutely. So a lot happened this episode. I'm sure we all have a lot to say. We're bursting at the seams. I know there's a lot of internet chatter about this one too. I mean, there was so much build up for this thing. I mean, all summer, and there's a lot of hate out there about how the season ended last year, and then there was kind of mixed emotions on the internet today. I've seen people love this episode, people couldn't stand it, they were still let down. So we'll get through this together like we always do. We're gonna dissect this episode beat by beat. We're gonna throw our opinions in, end up with our Buster ratings, and we're gonna roll on right through season 7, which looks to be pretty amazing. It's shaped up to be pretty good. It has this kind of intensity throughout. So let's just jump right into it, guys. The cold open from this episode really was that last teaser that AMC dropped on us. It was about a week ago or so. They kind of dropped on it, and it was essentially where we left off in the end of season 6, we think. I mean, it's kind of, you don't really know exactly where it is. You see a little blood on Rick's face, so something happened there. We know that Negan did his deed, I guess, with Lucille. And then Rick mumbles, "I'm gonna kill you." And then Negan leans in and says, "You didn't quite catch that. You have to speak up a little bit." And Rick replies, "Not today, not tomorrow, but I'm gonna kill you." Kind of like what he said in. It reminded me when he was in Terminus a little bit, right? When he was talking to those guys. Negan's face to face with Rick at this point, and he asks Simon, who's his henchman, the guy with kind of the drop mustache there, what Rick's
Trevor from Grand Theft Auto.
That's what he said, right? That is him.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell because he actually looks like his character in this.
Yeah, he does. It looks great.
Aaron, I like that detail. Good detail.
That was good.
Yes, I
More
got it.
detail.
It's good getting nuance.
Yeah.
Very good, yes. And he asks the henchman, what Rick was carrying, what weapon did he have on him? And Simon replies, "A hatchet." And Negan seems amused by this. He goes, "A hatchet?" And Simon's like, "Yeah, like an axe."
An axe.
Yeah.
I like that business quite a bit. I thought that was like, it's such like, in spite of all the drama that's going on right now, there's just like random aside about the nature of what a hatchet is versus an axe.
Right. Little baby hatchet. Look at
Now,
that.
let me ask something. Is Jeffrey Dean Morgan, is he wearing like a dental appliance? Because he keeps doing this thing where he kind of does this like pain smile where his teeth kind of stick out. I don't always remember him having that many teeth in the past.
I
I
don't
think
know.
he's wearing something that kind of, because he also has that kind of like slight lisp as he's talking as Negan. I thought maybe they might be wearing something.
Well,
Check out some photos or something.
it looks like his scarf is tight on him, and it looks like he's very. He
Yeah,
does. He has
maybe
a
he's
look.
deprived for air. That's it.
He looks like he's very like tensed up in the shoulders and stuff. Like he's giving off this, this is kind of this vibe, but laughing at the same time. Like he's very nonchalant about it.
He plays it so cool though.
Looking at pictures, it'd be a very subtle dental appliance if he's putting on some fake teeth. I think those are I'm pretty sure those are the teeth that he has.
I think it was
It just seemed, especially in the scene where he says, a hatchet, when they're doing they did a lot of close-ups this episode. A lot.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
think Aaron made a good point in his review that they sometimes substitute close-ups for like actual character acting in the episode. But when they had a close, it just seemed like and he does it a few other times too in the trailer and through the whole episode where he pushes his teeth forward and it almost looks like a smile, but it's not quite. It's not.
Oh, it's kind of like a sinister, because I'm looking at it now, like I'm fast forwarding to when he's talking to Rick, and it's kind of like a sinister. He gives him teeth when he says something, like he's showing his fangs to him, like
very animalistic and like
he even licks his teeth. I just caught it, like I wasn't even paying attention to it before, but he licks his teeth when he looks at Rick, like in a laughing kind of way. He
Kind of
just,
sucks his teeth a little bit, licks him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got that little. He's a lot of nuances that he puts into the character. I mean, it really enhances it.
Anyway, but yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is probably my favorite thing about this whole episode. And
I agree.
I mean, his
Hands down,
performance,
yeah.
his performance was like the cornerstone of this whole episode. He carried it all with all the manipulation of Rick and breaking down the rest of the group or whatever. But I just felt like some of the other parts of the episode weren't as strong. But I mean, we'll get to that as we go into the
how
episode.
dare you?
I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I certainly agree, and I think that's almost a detriment because
You know what, Aaron?
the
Get the show.
person that you're the most excited about is the guy that just beat two characters you really like with a baseball bat to death. And obviously, there's supposed to be kind of a level of sadistic charisma that comes with Negan, which I actually find to be more engaging on the show than I do in the comic. We talked about.
I agree.
We talked about the character in the comics before, and there's a lot of people that are obviously big fans of Negan in general. In the comics, I'm not a big fan of Negan. Like I do think there's with all the f-bombs and whatnot, it's just like it's a bit much for me. As far as accepting this as like the key person to be facing against. Well,
He was more bro in the comic a little bit. Like I
Yeah,
wanted him to die.
he's even like kind of drawn more bro in the comics.
Right.
Like, he basically looks like a rejected wrestler henchman character. And now you have Jeffrey Morgan, who's like a handsome movie star. That's a little for me that's a little different than what the portrayal in the comics supposed to be. So it's like, all right, well, I can at least get behind this horrible person because Jeffrey Morgan's doing a good job of making him seem not quote unquote likable, but watchable. I guess.
I wonder who would win in a fight. Negan versus John Winchester versus the comedian.
Oh, now you're just being crazy.
Well, each character has
What's
their
John
own
Winchester? I'm sorry.
nuance.
Who's John Winchester?
That's
Supernatural. That's the dad of the Supernatural brothers.
Oh, I think he automatically loses. The dad of the Supernatural brothers. That doesn't sound like a threat.
Supernatural's been on almost 20 seasons now. You really can't sneeze at the fan.
That's like saying like some random wife from all Days of Our Lives is going to win because
Well, it's not random because Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays him.
like the argument was because the show's been on a long time, I should feel threatened by him. That isn't
No,
right.
Aaron,
no,
you know what,
No,
Aaron?
No,
John
I'm just
Winchester
saying-
was a badass hunter of all
All
things
right.
that go bump in the night.
I'm saying
Okay,
a lot of people poo-poo Supernatural, but it is a legit show.
I don't think you get the group
I ended
Supernatural
the
group on.
entire series.
I'm indifferent to Supernatural because I don't watch it. But hearing the words "the dad from Supernatural" just does nothing for me.
But that's who he is.
Why do you hurt, Aaron? Why do you?
So getting back to Negan is staring Rick in the face really hard, trying to just see who's going to blink first. I mean, he's trying to evaluate Rick, and Rick's challenging him a little bit here, and he's still kind of just eye to eye with him. Finally, Negan grabs Rick by the collar and drags him into the RV. This was like, whoa! He's like flipping him around and literally throws him into the RV. On the way in, he's saying that Negan says maybe Rick will be back soon, maybe not, and then that's pretty much it. The camera pans down to see the gore that was left behind by Lucille. We also see Daryl's blanket, so another little tease there by the producer saying, "Oh my God, could it have been Daryl?" We don't know. Some last minute trolling there by the producers. We go to the opening credits.
That's not the last minute. There's still a whole commercial's worth of trolling. There's a lot of trolling.
Yeah, there's a big thing about that in this. One of the things I liked in that scene was when they showed from the point of view of the people that would be kneeling there. You know what I mean? Not the many cutaways to everyone's face, because that got interminable after a while. When actually the POV was from like looking up at Negan with the lights and that kind of rock band smoke machine fog they had going on. And I thought that was a really great look, especially for that character. I agree with Aaron. I like the character as portrayed on the TV show already better than the one in the book.
Well, if I didn't mention, this episode was directed by Greg Nicotero, so it is probably, his episodes typically are better than others.
And written by Scott Gimple. They basically have what's considered the A team on this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they watched Deliverance, though, because this reminded me a lot of Deliverance.
It did.
All that banjo in the back half really got that.
That was great.
When Ned Beatty made that cameo, that was good.
Oh, man.
That's a
The
zombie.
Burt Reynolds poster in the back of the RV really did it for me.
Squeal.
Oh, man. So in the RV, Rick is thrown to the floor, and Negan takes Rick's axe and just drives it into this little wooden dining table there. Negan says that they're going to go for a little ride, and he gets into the driver's seat. He tries to start the RV, but it won't start, and he says, "What a piece of shit." I'm glad he did, because that RV really is one.
Right.
And it won't start. He finally gives
And
up.
he's watching him, and I like how he's giving him a murder weapon.
Right there.
Get it. Like,
Turning his back on him, that was an insult.
well, he's watching him through the.
Like,
you see his eyes in the directing. You make sure that you can see his eyes through the your mirror, so you can tell he's still looking at him, but he's daring him to go get that weapon.
He's eyeballing him through that rearview mirror, and which again, Hollywood, I'm not going to nitpick too hard, but why would the rearview mirror in an RV? Anyway, that's beside the point. It's cool. It worked fine. I'm not going to chat show. Fine. Okay, fine, whatever. Leave it alone. Anyway, it was pretty cool that way he was kind of looking at him, and then Negan was laughing again, and he was kind of mimicking Rick at this point. He goes, "I'm going to kill you." And Negan says, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Keep acting tough. Go ahead." I love it. I'm smiling out ear to ear myself. I'm like, he's actually mimicking Rick. He's actually imitating him. He then tells Rick that his best bet is to grab the axe from the table and just whack him in the back of the head now. Rick hesitates at first, but then he quickly jumps up. He grabs the axe and goes for Negan, but Negan just jumps right up, and he's got a rifle, like a machine gun, basically, a little military style rifle pointed right at Rick's gut. Basically, he was just boom, he was right there. So Rick backs down, knowing if he lunges, he's gonna be shot. And Negan whacks Rick kind of in the stomach with the butt of the rifle. So Rick goes down again. Negan takes the axe again and jams it back into the wooden table. Kaboom. He then returns to the driver's seat and tells.
Well, they play with you with that because they make you think he slams it down. He slams the axe down, and you hatch it down, and you don't know where he slammed it at first.
So you thought he hit him in
makes
the head or something, or hit him somewhere else? Like,
I thought they cut his hand.
His hand,
I think
okay.
they did.
Yeah.
Definitely did.
The first 10 minutes of this whole episode is all about teasing the right hand, because he's saying right hand,
Right
grabbing him by the hand,
right hand,
putting it
hand.
down, starting slamming down the hatchet.
They troll you a lot. They troll
yeah.
as much as he controls the whole group. They're trolling the audience as well because they keep playing with that. Like, did he do it? Did he take a hand? Did he kill this
It
person?
even felt like the sound effect of him slamming the hatchet into the RV floor was like manipulated. It just sounded as if it could have been a
Could
lip.
be flesh or something.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it's like a troll within a troll, because they're trolling us still on who Negan killed by showing it all in flashback.
You don't even know yet. We still don't even know. Right?
So it's like a troll inception.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Negan's in the driver's seat. He tells Rick that you just contemplate what could have happened, what has happened, and what could still happen. He's trying to make Rick think about the situation now. We go on a little.
Professor Negan's in right now.
Exactly. We're driving along. Negan is laughing, getting a big kick out of running down some walkers in the road, which I think is so funny. This guy is so likable. I mean, he's so much more likable than the governor. I like the governor, but this guy is like, he's laughing as he's mowing down walkers. That's something I would do. Like, I'd be driving an RV, and he's starting laughing as I'm running down these walkers.
The one that needs more lovable goofballs. That's what I would say.
They smash against the windshield, and then Negan leans back and asks Rick, "Hey, does it remind you of anyone you know?" Like, obviously they just got smashed open. Rick is now experiencing. We see his face. You get a real tight shot of Rick's face, one of many that are in this episode.
Oh,
and we see
so many close-ups in this episode.
You see his beautiful blue eyes, man, throughout this thing. And we see these quick black and white flashbacks of all his companions, and one by one, starting with Rosita, and then there was a flashback on Glenn. And then finally the RV stops, and Negan again has another little quick conversation with Rick, telling him that, "Look, man, you now belong to me. This axe is mine. Your followers are now mine." And then Negan opens the door. He dispatches a couple of walkers that come towards him as he opens the door with the one with the bat, and I don't know, something hits another one somehow.
He kicks one.
Did he kick one? Okay.
He kicks the first one, like that's the second one.
Yeah. He tosses the axe on the roof of the RV, kind of just flips it up and around on the roof, and tells Rick to go get my axe and bring it back to me. And then again, Negan literally grabs Rick. I mean, just tosses him out of the RV. He's manhandling this guy into a very foggy or smoky area, which I guess we'll find out what that is in just a minute. I thought it was a cool effect though, because you see walkers coming at Rick in all these different crazy angles, like from the smoke and from the fog.
Yeah, like the Mist movie in the fog.
Yeah.
As far as like Walker-related action set pieces, this is a solid location for one. Having the kind of the mystery of what's in the mist, essentially, where there's walkers all over, you don't know where they're coming from. There's a good amount of separating that from the episode. That's a good way to generate tension.
John Carpenter's The Fog didn't have this much fog in it.
Well, actually, it turns out it was smoke, right? Even there was a lot of smoke. Yeah.
But Frank Darabont's The Mist did, so they stole this from him.
I can see them again. Oh, great. I kept expecting like Duran Duran to be off in the distance or something. Fog.
They were the original composers before Derek Pierce.
That would have been very interesting.
So as Rick is fighting for his life, he doesn't have a weapon. He's pushing off these walkers as he can. We see more flashbacks of his companions, really all of them at this point, kind of just playing in a very fast way. These little quick flashbacks of all his friends. And
I was trying to watch the kind of because they're doing like flash frame, shots of each character, like kind of giving like a visual history in very a truncated amount of time. And I was looking forward to like when you get like Aaron or like characters that are there for like a season and a half or so. So it's like let's see all this history about these characters. But even though like Carl and stuff, they didn't show very far back. They didn't show like first season Carl.
But it's more recent memories, yeah.
I wasn't watching it in slow motion because I don't care that much. But I was trying to get a sense of what they're going for. It's like, oh, they pretty much just showed recent images of everybody.
That hair though.
But yeah, the Carl.
Carl hair is going to control, man.
I wouldn't mind if Negan forced me to cut that off.
So Rick makes it to the roof of the RV where the axe is finally in. He climbs the ladder. We can see that the smoke is actually coming from that fiery log barrier that was set by Simon and the rest of the Saviors. We saw previous episodes. So that, and we see that one man that they hung off the bridge is still hanging there too. So we know where they are now.
I think it's more fog. I mean, there's maybe smoke there, but it is like it's daybreak. So it's just
okay. It's fog and smoke combo. Is what it is.
If it was smoke, he'd suffocate to death. He wouldn't be able to live in that.
Because I thought the fire like drew a good deal of walkers. That was the whole idea. Like there was to corral a bunch of walkers.
Well, that's certainly why they're all there. But smoke's not. I mean, smoke's black. I mean, that wasn't smoke. It's not a fog.
Okay, yeah, it was a cool effect. I mean, it was still very cool.
It is, yeah. And it makes good use of because we talked about this on the season finale when they like hung the guy over the bridge and everything. His head didn't just snap off. It's like, oh, this guy actually came back. Good for you.
Who was that guy? Was he one of the Hilltop people? Like, who was that guy?
It was like a random guy that Negan just like, or when Negan's gang, I guess Simon, right? It was at the beginning of the season finale episode where they took a guy and they like drew him. Does he have the marker from that too? Is that where the marker came from?
Is that where the marker's from? I mean,
because they painted an X or whatever on his chest, and then
they did.
And then they like shot him, right? And then later on they threw him over the bridge. Anyway, I'm flashing back to what I was talking about this.
I just don't remember. Was he of any significance? The guy that was hung there. I don't know. If
it was just a random innocent guy that they like taunted. I mean, it probably most likely was like a random Hilltop guy or something.
Right.
I mean, where else is he coming from? It was not like some of their own guys, but like it was like a random person that like they brought out when Abraham and the rest of the gang were driving the RV, and they stopped him the first time, so they brought out a guy, they like randomly shot him, and then later on.
Oh yeah, and then they threw him off the bridge later on. That's true. Okay. Yeah. Okay. To show they mean business, right? We're gonna kill somebody. Okay.
And now that guy came out and saved Rick's life.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Just had to die.
So I don't know. There's just no real consistency to his cruelty or to that group, the whole group that follows him. It's just brutality after brutality, and I just love that Negan is having fun through the whole thing, and his actions don't make sense at the same time they make complete sense. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I like he's human. He's laughing. He's actually enjoying his work.
Well, and just the inconsistency. I mean, beat the hell out of Abe, beat the hell out of Glenn, break Rick down, but Carl's arm, that's where he draws the line.
Well, I mean, we'll get to this as we go on and on and on, but I do think there's, regardless of my issues with the episode, what Negan's doing, I understand it. I know what he's doing with it, but we'll get there, I guess, as we finally get to these things.
So Rick finally collapses on the roof of the RV. He gets up there. He's relatively safe for the moment, and I think the weight of what just happened is finally hitting him, and he's really just crushed at this point. You can see he's almost in physical pain, and he actually just lays down on the top of the roof, looking at the sky. And we hear Negan talking from inside the RV, taunting Rick even more, saying, talking about Sunday dinner and growing old. He goes, that's not going to happen. He goes, and again, he reminds him to Rick, think about what happened. He's working a number on Rick, that's for sure. We got the commercial. We see Rick on the roof again, back where we ended up.
Just to keep this in mind, all of us who are watching The Walking Dead with bated breath to hear who shot Mr. Burns, who shot JR, who got killed. It's now 20 minutes into the episode, 2 commercial breaks.
1/3 of the episode gone, and they still have not told us.
We see Rick on the roof again, back at the commercial. He's now flashing back to what just happened. So here we go. Finally, he's replaying his mind what just happened, and this is what we're all waited all summer to see. And from his perspective now, finally, we see his gang kneeling in front of Negan, and we see the eeny, meeny, miny, mo routine. But again, this is from Rick's perspective now, finally. So we don't see it like from that crazy camera angle, like you guys say. Like it's more from Rick's point of view. And he ends up saying, "You are it," and he lands on Abraham. And before Abraham meets his fate, he kind of gives Sasha this little hand signal. I don't know if you guys caught that, little peace signal, or like deuces, like he was fingering 2 fingers there. And then finally, whack. And Abraham takes it pretty good, and he kneels back up. And he says, this is his last great one-liner, last great Abrahamism, is suck my nuts. And then Negan whacks again. Yes.
And then there's just wet chunks of flesh on the ground.
Exactly.
Bones, skull.
Yeah,
so
very subtle kill. Yeah.
I think we all narrowed it down. Like,
there's a lot of nuance in that.
I love the nuances of this.
There's tons. There's a lot there. Very subtle, though.
Yeah, subtle.
So, I mean, okay, it's Abraham, right? We waited all summer, and it's Abraham. Okay, I mean,
Told you.
Yeah, a lot of us kind of narrowed it down. I narrowed it down to either Abraham or Eugene. That was
He was an easy kill. He was an easy one to do. Yeah.
And he even said, like, I was watching The Talking Dead afterwards, he's like, look, man, I was on borrowed time. The arrow should have been for me, the one that took out Denise. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, if you follow the comic book, he goes, I was on borrowed time anyway. That's what the actor was saying, Cudlitz. So,
my top 3 of who it would be was Glenn, Abe, and Maggie. So
Maggie.
I was 2 out of 3.
Now, speaking of that, there was some leaked footage. I don't know if you guys caught it. I don't mind watching
Maggie
spoilers.
the conversation. She was going to kill some pregnant woman. Like,
Well,
I didn't think Maggie was in any danger.
No,
but did any of you watch that leaked footage the day before, like on Saturday?
No.
I'm sorry, I don't care.
No, I don't watch.
Listen, I'll tell you what happened. I have Google on my phone, right? So I hit Google and it says spoiler YouTube, and I hit it right there. I don't care. And you see this like stolen footage of Negan whacking Maggie over the head, and she like coughs or something like that, and he finishes her off. Now this was like, I guess what they do is they shot everybody getting hit in the head with Lucille. Okay.
They show the episode. I mean, they show all the
Right.
Yeah, you see it in these foggy flashback things.
They let that leaked footage sit on the net for a day. Like they didn't take it down. AMC didn't rush and then take it down right away. They let that sit up there. So people that even looking for spoilers say, "Oh, it's Maggie. She's a goner," but it really wasn't her. So again, we're even trolled by the leaked footage. It's even not even that could be
Well, I mean, there's two, like I have some mixed thoughts on AMC's handling of all this that we'll get to, but I mean, it's to their credit. I mean, they did their job as far as preserving a secret by shooting all the footage of every single person getting killed. That's the best possible way they could have gone as far as preserving something in a world where things get out, things get leaked, and everyone's more than happy to share stuff thousands of times. So I mean, it plays to their advantage to let things like that go.
Yeah, so they saw it. Let's let it stay up there. It's okay. Well, it's not the right one anyway. So let's just let it permeate for a day. Well, when Negan's done with Abraham, he's laughing. He slings Lucille around, and blood splatters all over Rick's right side of his face. Negan is laughing, enjoying the whole ordeal. He says, "Look at my dirty girl." He then shoves the bat right under the nose of Rosita, telling her to look at it. And she's repulsed. She won't look up. And Negan again is being very perceptive somehow. He seems to know, like, okay, Carl and Rick are father and son, and he kind of picks up that, oh, you and Abraham, okay, you and this guy, who he calls now Red. He's calling Abraham Red. They were united at one point. Negan taunts Rosita to look up at the bloody bat again when Daryl just leaps up and punches Negan across the face. The saviors, including Dwight, they just get him down to the ground real quick. Dwight brings a crossbow, whatever, puts it right to his face, and gets him under control quickly. Dwight asks if he should kill Daryl right there. Negan says, nope, not until you try a little, and then puts Daryl back in line.
Now, once again, we get Daryl, he's invulnerable because he's both killed the tank and punched the Negan.
And he's shot. Like, he's actually shot and wounded right now. He just jumps up, loses the blanket, and goes right for Negan. Yes. Okay. Well, Negan is none too pleased about this. He reminds the group that the first outburst, Glenn's outburst, was free. That he's a man of his word. And to prove it, he says, let's get back to it. He spins around and whacks Glenn twice over the head. And, yeah. So, did you guys know at that moment, because they framed it really funny, like you saw Glenn just sitting there in the background, right? Did you think it was going to happen there? Like, did you...
I didn't think they would do it. I didn't think they would stick to
the comic. Right.
Yeah, the comic can do it. Since we all expected it to happen, I didn't think they were going to do it.
And they already gave us Abraham. And they already got the dumpster fake out, right? So you figured, no, it's fine. But there it is. And then we see Glenn pop up, just like in the comic book. They couldn't have framed it any better. His skull is caved in. His left eyeball is popped out of the socket.
I love that eyeball, man. That was
Nicotero did a great job.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
and
great eyeball.
His last words were, Maggie, I will find you. He's trying to put the words together.
In the most, like, disturbing, like, voice possible.
Totally. That was so disturbing. I had to rewind it to listen to it again and again because I was like, what is he saying?
I was reading a post by a neurosurgeon on Reddit today. today and was talking about that frontal lobe. Yeah, the whole with the frontal lobe, and that most likely he was trying to say "I love you" to Maggie, but that he couldn't translate that. His brain was just too far gone on the frontal lobe. I don't know.
Detail, bro.
Yeah. So Negan's even laughing at Glenn. He goes, "Man, you look gross. I crushed your skull. You're this is really directly from the comic book. Yeah, this is ripped right from the pages. He then finishes the job, and with each blow, we see they pan to the Rick's group. You see like every whack, you see a different face. And
nice shot, though.
Yeah, you see the reactions of Rick's group, and I mean Daryl's like ready to. I mean his face.
Well, it's his fault. Like he's going to blame himself because he had to. It's his fault. If he didn't jump and punch him, he wouldn't have punished another person.
Yep. And they asked that question on The Talking Dead today. Because he was there, and they asked him, he goes, "Oh, absolutely." He goes, "Daryl's really messed up about this." So it's like he's already spoiling his emotional state in the future, but I guess not that big of a spoiler.
Well, it's perfect. If you're going to have Negan destroy these people, you have to have it where he would know that these alpha males, most of them want to die. Anyway. They would die for other people. You got to get them the other way. You got to. When they do something, you have to respond by hurting or killing someone else.
But the alpha males on the show are basically bulletproof because of Rick and Daryl.
Yeah.
But I mean,
realistically,
from Negan's perspective, who's not aware of the massive female fan base that Daryl has, he sees Abraham and he's like, "This is the biggest hulking guy among the Rick's group." Right. Like, there's a logic to why he takes Abraham out. Like,
I mean, the eeny, meeny, miny, mo was just crap. I mean,
that's just that's Abraham. He's the showman. Negan's the showman. I mean, taking out Glenn, that's obviously like, all right, I
gotta please the crowd.
Well, Glenn was he jumped up and that was like, that's to punish Daryl now, like to let you know if any of you do that, this is what will happen. Next time I'll kill the kid. Next time I'll kill I'll kill one of the women. Like that's a smart way to do it if you want to stop people from rebelling against you.
Sadly, as a viewer, it just completely craps all over Abraham's death because you don't care that much about Abraham anymore because that Glenn.
But see, that's the problem I had.
But I wouldn't anyway because he just isn't he had a red shirt on him kind of. Since the last two episodes.
He's been around for like 2 seasons, though, hasn't he?
Well, they focused on him. When they focus on a character, that's when you start to kind of feel like they're not going to. That's it for them.
So he had his little story. He wore his little army uniform. He fell in love with Sasha. That was his little arc, right? So he had his.
Well, yeah, he outlived his narrative usefulness. I mean, they'd have to create new drama for him to be a part of something because there's no other arc for him to explore beyond where his new relationship goes. I guess. Who cares about that?
And he ain't Daryl or Rick.
Exactly. But then you get to Glenn. And by the way, if you look at Glenn's like week, if you look at Walking Dead time, I mean, the dumpster thing only happened like a week and a half ago, maybe. Yeah. As far as the time span of this thing goes, he's had a horrible time leading up to his last breath and all of this.
I just think that they could have spaced this out. I think a lot of fans feel the same way. We get to this when we read the Busters, but they could have maybe done Abraham at the end of season 6, right? We could have all seen that, and then end the episode somewhere right around there, and then continue right now with this. And then if Glenn dies at the beginning of season 7, that would be a major shocker.
I
totally agree with that. And here's the thing: is as much as I love this episode, as far as Negan, I love Jeffrey D. Morgan's portrayal. There's so many things, but I feel like they spent more of the purpose. There were 2 things they wanted out of this episode, and the deaths were not it. They wanted us to see him break Rick, and then jerk with our emotions, and that's simply what it was. By doing the cliffhanger, that was one thing, but then to sit here and jerk us around for 20 minutes. With all of this, I don't know. I mean, they were trying to have all these little nuances through the fog and everything else to try to get us, make it compelling. But to me, all it was doing was pissing me off. And then they kill Abraham. Okay, great. That was one of my picks. That's what I figured. And then they turn around, like Aaron said, piss on his death and make him nothing more than a red herring to jerk the audience around even more, and then turn and do what they actually were going to do from the comics. I don't know. To me, it both was very satisfying and frustrating and just I don't know.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah.
There's the irritation I have with this episode overall. It goes a little deeper than just like how things are put out there. I think there's a way to make this episode work given what we see in it as far as.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a way to kind of structure this differently and just write it better. Generally say what
go on YouTube. There's a 20-minute edit together someone did this morning. I found it on Reddit, and they just took and put chronological from the end of season 6 and everything else and cut out all the bullshit. It took only 20 minutes, and it was very compelling, and it was just the same footage.
And that's part of my problem. Like what we're being told can really be condensed into about 20 minutes, like you're saying, and you can kind of carry on. But what AMC has done, or what the showrunners have done, or whoever else is involved in the decision making of how to make this into an event, is instead of building up anticipation for a new season of The Walking Dead because you're excited to see a new season of The Walking Dead, it made it so you're excited to see who gets to be brutally maimed by a new villain. And I don't know if that's a show I signed on for, guys. I mean, I have no problem with violence in the series. I mean, that's what the series is based on. Let's recall that the first scene of the series is Rick shooting a girl in the face because she's a zombie. It's like
that's true. Yeah.
And there's plenty of other things we can list as examples of how brutal the show can get. There's nothing wrong with the level of force. Yes, the violent content is not my issue. It's more of I'm coming off of a disappointing finale because I didn't care for the cliffhanger. I didn't feel like that was a necessity to really speak to what the show needs to do here. It's like I don't need a lack of finality for you to get me to come back. I'd rather just see an open and shut story or some kind of thing that resonates with me as far as the themes or what it's trying to say or what have you. But instead, it did leave it open-ended, and AMC went all out to make sure that you see Negan's face with a giant baseball bat and assure you that don't worry, the show's coming back because we're going to really harm a character you most likely really enjoy. So get ready for that. You should definitely be excited because we're going to kill the hell out of somebody the second we turn this episode on. Despite the fact that it doesn't do it the second episode turns back on.
I mean, and also add to it, like I did like, I kind of there's that feeling that you did visceral reaction that I do like the killing that they've done in a way, but there is a part of me that goes, there was no advertisement about how they will explore civilization after the changes made, how the characters will deal with the aftermath. All we got since the last episode was who are we going to kill? Who are we going to kill? And that's been the basis. And when you constantly do that, like they have for this whole summer, it does come off very cheap to me.
It's done that. It's only just recently started to emphasize. Oh yeah, by the way, the kingdom's gonna be here. That's the thing.
Right.
We'll see what that is.
But if you don't read the comics, that's meaningless. You have no idea what that means at all. And also speaking to your point, Aaron, the reason we watch the show isn't to watch torture porn. I mean, or to watch like massive amounts of violence being done. If these characters didn't have any development or any depth to them, or we didn't have any past with them or feeling for them, it wouldn't matter. They could just go random people on the show and it would go,
like Fear the Walking Dead.
Okay, like Fear the Walking Dead. I mean, the reason the death has impact is because Glenn has been around since the first season. I mean, we've been
first episode.
Yeah, I mean, we've been around with him for 7 seasons or whatever.
There's only 3 originals left now.
And the reason Abraham, same reason he was around for 2 seasons and we got to know the character. I mean, if you're like you say, people all they talk about is who's gonna die, and they paid off in the most like gory, brain pulping way possible. I mean, I love horror movies, but I have a problem with like movies kind of like like hostile, like torture porn. You know, just kind of that line for me, and the way they kind of like just kind of glorified the gore and the brains and everything. What's supposed to be a very impactful, pardon the pun, impactful moment of this character that we're losing after 7 seasons. You're kind of cheaping out for me in the ways that you guys are talking about. Plus, by lingering on these long lingering shots on these special effects, it's just kind of like, ooh, look at the gore from Glenn. It's not like, dude, we just lost somebody. And I realize the next 2 or 3 episodes are going to be all about them dealing with this.
No, I see what you're saying, Jim. There's that's not necessarily my problem. I get what you're getting at. It's not necessarily I don't have too much of a problem with the lingering on the gore whatnot. It's just make it more about something. And there's no shock here. Like, because we know regardless of who dies, we knew someone was going to die. So it's not like it's coming out of nowhere. But you mentioned Hostel. What I like about nuance. What I like about the Hostel movies.
Let's talk about nuance.
Well, compared to their imitators, which just do rely on the gore effects, there's a heavy layer of social commentary in the Hostel films, and that's what that ones that I revisit all that often. But what Eli Roth, the director of those films, he's doing, there's layering there. It goes with the kind of come and get your gore, but there's also a reason why it's happening. There's commentary there. Now, that doesn't mean everyone needs to go see this because it has that. That's just the flavoring of seeing all this crazy gore goes on top of an actual storyline. Here, the episode is stretched out to an entire length solely to focus on the death of these characters,
and the breaking of Rick,
and the breaking down of Rick. Right. And as effective as it is to see Andrew Lincoln being broken down because he's doing his best to make cry face to a point where it's silly.
He's sweating so hard too, man.
His hair's dripping wet, he's slobbering all the time.
He's sweating so hard.
It only takes me so far if it does nothing but dwell on these actions. And this episode, I mean, you're talking about like a Reddit cut of this episode that goes 20 minutes. That's really all I kind of would have needed to get across the idea of what's necessary here. Like I get it. Like I don't need to linger on it. I don't necessarily think that these characters needed also to be lingered on by Negan as far as dragging Rick out on an RV adventure to further justify some point before bringing him back again. And we'll get to the other scene with Carl. There's stuff that's effective there. The filmmaking's good. Like that's never been a problem with the show. It's just I think it's off base for having us have to wait and then anticipate it based on these actions. And that was going to bother me from the start, honestly. I was hoping that I could get past this, but knowing that the show ended on a cliffhanger and I was going to have to resolve that, I already knew it was like, all right, this show really needs to deliver if I'm going to be able to accept the fact that I'm watching this so I can find out the answer to a question that didn't need to be asked.
Do you think that the fan reaction over the summer steered the plot of this episode a bit? Do you think they added that second kill?
No.
I think they did.
I don't think it was all pre-planned.
I could be wrong, but I think they did.
Well, I don't know if it was on Talking Dead or some of the other stuff I watched today, clips of interviews, but Gimple talks about, like, it's been like a year and a half, 2 years in the planning.
That was on Talking Dead. I didn't buy that. I didn't buy it one bit. He was lying through his teeth, it seemed like to me. That's what it felt like to me. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Well,
I can only speculate on these things. But we have talked a lot about we do talk about the ratings on the show as far as the viewership for Walking Dead. And, we've explained how the ratings have they plateaued last season for the first time. Usually they go up, which has been crazy. But 6 seasons on, it makes sense that eventually the ratings can't just keep going higher. There's going to be a kind of a limit. And while again, all speculative, I do think there's a version of this that could have ended with you knowing who Negan killed, and then you carry on, starting from like the same place next season, but already getting past the kind of like who killed who kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I think in an effort to make this into a giant event, the kind of the structuring was changed, and so it turned it into a thing. And AMC was very successful. I mean, they managed to get. We don't know the ratings yet on this episode. I'm sure it's probably among the highest ever.
Oh yeah.
They got now to see if we have anything.
But they got everybody talking about.
Yeah.
They got everybody talking about.
It worked. I mean, and I knew it would work as well because we give into that. Like even people who were angry at what happened, we're going to watch it. Still just to see what happens.
Exactly.
But the inverse is that it results in an episode that feels less substantial and more spectacle. Like it feels the episode's structured entirely around these massive deaths and horrible things that are happening, as opposed to giving me anything as far as the other characters go. I get to know who Negan is, but I think the first 5 minutes of Negan in the season finale gave me all that I need to know about Negan. I don't know what else I learned about him suddenly. Like,
so as we're reeling from Glenn's death, you even see his little twitch, like his body twitches as his head is totally. There's a little extra little gore there. But Negan says that they're all a bunch of pussy and that he's just getting started. And when he's done with Glenn, he said that Lucille is thirsty. She's a vampire bat. He was trying to make a joke. And now we cut to exactly.
I laughed at that. That made me laugh. It's like so goofy.
The dude is funny.
He's got
you
it.
got to give it to him. He's funny.
And I like it's like a flashback joke too. He's like, "What? Oh, you didn't like my joke?" Because that's what the episode starts with.
That's the line that the episode started with, right? So we cut to exactly where it began, and he asked, "Yeah, the joke was too bad," or something. That's what he said. Now we're back to Rick again. He's still collapsed on top of the RV. We can hear Negan still taunting him, telling him that look, people died, but it can end here, and he still wants his axe back. He was bring back my axe. So we go to another commercial now. Negan gets impatient and really starts to shoot through the roof of the RV. So Rick is forced to leap off the RV and hang on the body of the walker that's hanging by his neck off the bridge. When the neck starts to separate from the body, it looks like Rick is going to be walker food. But then Negan pops out of the back of the RV with the window, kind of popped it open, and he just mows down all the walkers that were around Rick with his rifle, so that Rick has a chance to get to his axe and get back to the door. This is where we now see Rick imagining each of his group getting whacked with Lucille. So this is where they use that footage where they shot everyone getting hit in the head with Lucille. He kind of imagines what will happen if he doesn't get this axe, get it back to Negan, and get on with his day, one by one. It inspires him. Yeah,
that felt like we need to use this footage we shot. So why not put it right?
That's what it felt like too.
So we're running about a minute and a half short. What do you think, Aaron? Use that footage we shot?
I guess so.
Oh, we just have Rick thinking about it.
So I guess it inspired him to make it through the horde of walkers and get back inside the RV. That was the idea anyway. Negan is playing some games with him though. He locks the door for a minute from the inside, but then finally he does open it up and fires off a few more rounds into the walker group to help Rick out again. Rick then re-enters the RV. Negan simply holds out his hand, expecting the axe, and Rick puts the axe into Negan's hand. And Negan at this point is happy. He's got this big grin on his face, and he goes, "Attaboy, attaboy." He smiles and he drives the axe back into the wooden table once again. And they actually do a close up on the axe. You see it's covered in zombie guts and like hair and blood. It's pretty nasty actually.
The RV dehumanized him. Like he totally dehumanized him.
Rick, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's breaking him bit by bit. The RV then drives off. When it finally stops, where they go back to the beginning, Negan is continuing to taunt Rick, saying, it must be tough on you. You were the leader. You were the king. You had your nuts clipped one after the other right in front of your own boy, meaning the two people that got killed in front of him. He says that Rick was in charge, but now that's over. He can still lead a nice life, producing for Negan. Negan then goes around. This is where I thought the hand was coming off. Negan finds some alcohol in one of the cabinets and wipes down the axe clean. And I thought because he was doing that, he was going to take risks. I thought right there was going to happen. You guys said in the beginning, I thought it was going to happen right here.
Well, they keep teasing it all through the show.
Right.
I mean, right-hand man, all this, and then with the alcohol, it's just like they kept teasing that all through. Like, I don't know if you read the comics, you know what they're teasing. I don't want to spoil because we try to keep things separate here, but I mean, all through the show they made references to them.
Right.
So around this point, I just kind of stopped caring, guys. Honestly, as far as like what they were going to pull off is like if you're gonna do something, just do it, man. I mean, like, I know what the shows. I see the shows. Like I see the strings here. Where it's like, okay, I don't need to kind of guess ahead about who's gonna die or what's gonna happen or whatnot. But like you're throwing out too many clues at me at this point. It's just like just get it over with. If you're gonna do it. But don't keep teasing me this way.
So he then gives the axe back to Rick and says he's going to need it. You better take it. And Rick then grabs it quickly out of his hand. We cut quickly to commercial. But there was an added surprise in between this commercial break. And Aaron, I'm so glad you're on with us because Fear the Walking Dead may be on hiatus, but we have a piece of Fear the Walking Dead with us throughout the entire Walking Dead season. It's called #Passage. Fear the Walking Dead Passage, brought to you by Taco Bell.
Ooh, Taco Bell.
Yes, that's what it was. So,
but that wasn't order-based season.
So, Aaron, would you be so kind to go over episode 1 of 16 of Passage? What happened? Well, in case people missed it.
Obviously,
oh, I did miss it, so please.
Obviously,
this is epic.
Flight 462 was, had a great high concept, zombies on an airplane.
Right.
Fear the Walking Dead Passage. It really seemed more like a Great Brother, piece of an episode to this episode because a lot of it took place in the fog. Right? There's some fog action here.
A little bit, yeah.
But so you have a character in a kind of a clean room suit, like a hazmat suit type thing.
Biohazard suit or whatever.
Biohazard suit, yeah. There's another, there's a female character somewhere on the ground trying to hide from things. It's the biohazard person. They're like walking through like an area. It's like an airport tarmac or
It's
something.
like an army camp with tents or something. It's like a
It's
military
like a base or something.
Yeah,
It's some kind of like it's like a large layer of like asphalt with a bunch of stuff all over the place. Zombies are coming out. This person just starts stabbing. My notes it says suit/stab. Person's just stabbing the different walkers and stuff. And the female is on the ground somewhere, just kind of like, oh my god, I'm hiding from like this craziness going on. That's basically it. I think I'm missing any key details.
No, you summed up episode 1 of Passage, brought to you by Taco Bell, of Fear the Walking Dead.
So it's a good thing that actually lives on in various commercial breaks in the next 8 episodes.
So those of you that didn't continue with us during, Fear the Walking Dead, we had Flight 462. That was that 16 episode thing. And now we're doing it again. So
which are like a minute long.
They're a minute long, right? The 16 segments. And actually, I was looking on the web. The episode's up. The next one's already up. Like you can watch it early if you want to. So the next one, if you want to get a head start, you can go to #Passage and you can.
I'll be right back in 2 minutes.
So back to reality, back to the gravel site there. Rick's group is still kneeling. Rick is then again physically thrown out of the RV, just tossed by his britches out of the RV onto the ground.
Let's assume this RV was apparently gone for like 2 hours or something. So everyone was just standing there and kneeling
That's
down.
what I was thinking. I'm like, what the hell?
Let them all hang out there for wait around.
They were in shock. I mean, they were looking at their dead comrades.
Even the surface saviors, they're just like hanging out there, like whistling to each other or something. Like, how long?
They're like, he's at it again. Let's just wait.
So Negan then asks Rick if he knew what that trip was all about. Rick doesn't respond right away. Negan says, "You got to. No, I talk to you. You better respond." Rick says, "Okay." And Negan says it was about the way that Rick was looking at him earlier. At Negan, he says he looked like Negan in a scrambled egg. That's what he said, and he's still looking at him that way. Rick still has a defiant look in his eye. So Negan then says, "Okay, it's time for the grand prize game." And that's what Rick, and he goes, what Rick does next will determine how this day will go. Negan then says, I want guns pointed at the heads of all the group. So all the henchmen come up and cock their guns and everything, so they're pointed at the heads of the remaining Rick's group. He then tells Carl to come on over to the middle, and he asks Carl, Negan does, if he's a southpaw, if he's a lefty. Carl says,
like, what?
He's like, what? Southpaw? He goes, you're lefty. He goes, no. Negan then takes his belt off and wraps it around Carl's left arm, kind of on the upper part of his arm. Negan then asks Simon if he has a pen. Of course, Simon does, kind of a magic marker, tosses it over, and then Negan draws a line across Carl's arm. Rick pleads with Negan not to do it. And Negan just laughs and says, I'm not going to do anything. He goes, you are. And gives the ultimatum that unless Rick cuts off his boy's arm, all in the group will die. The people back in Alexandria will also die. So Rick now is a complete slobbering mess.
And I like how he's even taunting him even further. He's saying, I'm going to let that sink right in.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a second to process that.
You need that. You need that. And then he's just constantly like saying, he never lets him take a break. Like he's constantly just saying things to him, not yelling, but he's just like that, just constantly hitting him with comments and things over and over again.
And he says, do like a salami cut or something, do a 45 degree
They
cut.
do 45 degrees. They pulled over. Got a great doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be all right. The kid will be fine. Maybe.
Yeah.
Did anyone think this was going to happen? Like, anyone think that Carl's arm was going to come off?
I did kind of. I didn't. At first, I wasn't sure. Do it, but then I was like, well, maybe he won't be in it as much.
Right, they can make him without the arm because it's easier to. He's not in it as much as the main character would be. That's true. Yeah.
And that'll be their way of saying, see, you didn't think we were going to do it to Rick, but we did it to Carl. We got you.
So Rick,
so one eye and a hook handle. He's one peg leg away from being a Pirates of the Caribbean.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I was thinking, like if they cut off Carl's arm, they got to get his leg at some point because that's going to make it more epic.
The funniest part about it for me, and it kind of blew the whole tension for it, is when they had the close up on Chandler Riggs' face. He's like, "Do it." He's telling his own dad to cut his own hand off. It's supposed to be like this, like very tense and dramatic moment. But
see, there was not one part of me that thought this was going to happen on this television show. It's like as gnarly as it's going to be. I'm not the show. There's never going to be an AMC show that makes Rick Grimes cut off his son's arm. Like,
I mean, it could have been though. I mean, they could have pushed it really hard, right? They could have.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, what everybody would happen, and it didn't. So I mean,
well, what if they cut his hand off, shot Maggie in the stomach, cut off everybody's heads, and then ended that way?
Well, that's the show that like, well, where are they going to go from here? I got to watch it now because it's all their cast members.
It'll be Negan the Saviors. It'll be a whole new crew. It's
no, the show just focused on Carol and Morgan.
Carol
and Morgan adventures.
But I asked because it's like, while I never thought that this was actually going to take place. I did like admire the kind of attention that was built here because this I did think was an effective moment in television where you have Negan putting on this impossible task onto Rick. And if I'm going to see Rick cry face for all the episodes, this is at least the best part of that because he really they let him crush himself as far as like he went full snot, which is always a sign of great cry acting when you go full snot.
Yeah.
Director's just like go for it, and he's like doing it.
He's just slobbering over his face. He doesn't know what to do. Negan gets impatient and starts counting at that point from 3. He goes, don't make me count. All right, you want me to count? And then Rick is pleading again, saying, please, it could be me. And Negan continues to count. Rick then finally picks up the axe, I guess at the count of 1. And Carl whispers from the ground, you said it, Dad, it's okay, just do it. Like he was brave at that point. I guess we're trying to show that. Like I understand why you have to do this, otherwise everyone's dead. So do it. And just
that seemed, I mean, as silly as like Jimmy said, it just just looking at the shot, it does seem kind of silly. So Taylor Riggs, for as good as he can be, he's not that great at emoting. I mean,
there's something odd about that angle too, like the angle they had him at when they shot that shot.
Like half his face was on the ground, right? He was on the ground or something.
Yeah. Well, even Michonne was even saying to do it a little bit. Like she looked like she was going with it.
Well, first she broke it. She's like, she was trying to plead to Negan, right? She was
right. Yeah, first, and that wasn't working.
No,
because he's not crazy. Because that's the thing too. He's not a sick, crazy dude like the governor who has an ego that you can stroke to do what you want to do. It's not him. Like that's not his makeup. It's different.
He's a psychopath. He's a sociopath.
Yeah, he's a sociopath. Yeah.
You're right about the Michonne, and I did gloss over that because because it was a good line. Negan says, "Yes, I think you understand," but Rick over here still doesn't understand. He still sees that defiance in Rick, and we know that that's Rick. I mean, Rick is not going to give up
No,
very
but
easily.
what's the choice? Like you said, I will bash you. Either cut his hand off or I bash his head in.
Right, exactly.
Bash everybody else's head in, and then I go Alexandria kill them, and then I don't kill you for a couple years. That sink in. Like,
So what is the choice? I mean,
So Rick's now a complete mess. He's slobbering, and he says, "You know, it could be me." He picks up the axe and he's just about to swing it, and then Negan steps in and basically stops him. And Negan leans in towards Rick and says, "Now do you understand? You answer to me. You work for me." And Rick finally has to repeat his words. "Yes, I work for you. I answer to you."
well, first he said, "That's the look."
Right. Well, no, he says at the end. He goes, "What's at the end?" Yeah, he says, and then Negan is happy. He points at Rick's face and says, "Now that's the face I was looking for." Yeah, that's the look I was looking for. So
and
Negan,
God reached down from heaven to stop Abraham.
there was a little biblical reference there, and Abraham did get killed, right? So there we go. So Negan then stands up. He does this little, he's preaching to the choir again, proclaiming that, "Okay, we got through this, folks. We did it all together. This was a productive day." And he orders Dwight to load Daryl into the van. He leans in close to Rick again and says that Daryl, this guy's got guts, unlike some other people I know. I guess Rick at this point, and that he now belongs to him.
Oh yeah, he totally called him a pussy or something.
Yeah, he's unlike other people I know. Like, he was just, dissing Rick. And then again, this not me. Negan mimics Rick again, saying, "Not today, not tomorrow, not today, not tomorrow." He goes, "If I hear that crap again, I'm gonna send Daryl back in pieces to you." I think that was so great.
Man,
I mean, you don't mimic Rick. You don't do that. Get away with it. But Negan
well,
does.
you used to not do that.
Yeah, not today, not tomorrow. He's like,
You do it now though.
so addressing the remaining group, he tells them that Negan says you need to accept the things that have now changed, and whatever they had going for them is now finished. On the way out, Negan leaves them a pickup truck to fill up with supplies to offer up to him in a week or so when he pays them a visit. And he simply says, "Until then, ta-ta." And he drops the axe on the ground and just strolls off the scene. All the saviors depart and leave the group devastated on the ground. And really, they're devastated. There's no dialogue. They're just sitting there.
No, they just crying.
It's a mess.
It's completely silent. It was actually pretty effective.
Did you notice though, as the saviors were walking away, one of them took a Polaroid of Glenn's remains? Did you guys catch that?
I did not see that.
Check it out again. I put it on the second rewatch. 'Cause remember we saw the Polaroids, well, from the dead people in that compound, but you saw a guy lean over, took a picture, and he's like shaking the Polaroid, to get it developed faster. When it comes out, it was pretty funny actually.
Well, at least it wasn't. You didn't take it with a cell phone.
No. You need power for
No,
it, right?
it's still 2011 or something. Then the cell phones aren't that good yet with the cameras.
Yeah, like one megapixel. They didn't have
That's
enough
the
of that,
reason.
Yeah, right. Gotta be it.
So after that really quiet moment that they had, just silence, finally Maggie drags herself up and starts to walk away. Rick tries to help her, but she's insistent that she walk alone and that Rick needs to get everyone ready to fight back at Alexandria. And Rick's like, "Fight?" He goes, "They have an army."
Shoot.
Yeah.
He's like, fight what?
They'll kill all of us. Sasha then gets up and takes Maggie and promises to get her to the hilltop. So finally she takes some help. But
I need
Maggie,
her not to be tough now, though.
Sasha?
Yeah, I need her not to be tough after they all left.
Maggie then says that they're taking Glenn's remains with them. Sasha then kneels close to Rosita and says, "I'm going to take Eugene. We're going to take him as well." Just like getting her okay, like trying to take his body or something. I don't know. They're trying to close that
Well,
loop.
Sasha says, "I'll protect her." I was like, "No, you won't." If Negan comes back, nobody's protecting anybody.
Yeah,
Like,
the hilltop, right? Yeah, it's true.
yeah. You hope you just going with her. You hope you don't run into him again.
So it's a very stylistic, kind of moment here. It's with slow motion. They gather the bodies. They start heading back to the trucks, and we can hear Negan's voice echoing, he's not even anywhere near there, just echoing, talking about that Sunday dinner again. And we see that imagined Sunday dinner happening outside Alexandria, where you see Glenn there with his newborn baby, and well, not newborn, it's just a toddler, I guess, and Abraham's there laughing, and it's like a whole family together, and it's a nice scene. Everyone's out there together.
Right. Tyrese is there.
Was he there?
No.
It's
There were people in there.
I saw Tara. I mean, she was there. Yeah.
Jennifer from the
T-Bone was there.
T-Dog was there.
T-Dog.
Oh man.
Lori was there.
Lori was there. Ghost Lori or Lori? Yeah.
Shane with hair was there.
The phone was there. Earl was
Herschel's
there.
leg was there.
Herschel's leg.
Just a leg.
The flag.
Dale was playing
Dale
piano
was
in the
there.
background.
Oh.
Abraham Lincoln walked in, high-fiving John Wilkes Booth.
The little girl looking at flowers. was there.
Andrea and her sister were there.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh man, that'd be pretty funny.
The Vatos were all singing choir in the background.
Sookie was there.
What would the governor be doing?
Governor shaved his beard off in front of all them. Saying, "That was normal."
He had a head in a jar he was holding.
He was watching TV.
Good old Philip.
Head was smiling, winking at you.
Great.
So again,
That would have gotten as many listeners as possible.
Yes. Again, this was just this is Rick's imagination that this will never happen now because the group is definitely broken in a lot of ways.
The same.
Not the same. So Rick gets in the RV and drives back. We see again a close up. The episode ends with a close up of Rick's eyes, and you can see that he's tore up, I guess. So that is the season opener. I thought it was going to be an hour and a half actually, but it wasn't. It was just an hour episode. Yeah.
I was very happy that it was just an hour.
Well, what else would you
Well,
do?
it
the
could be
sadness.
20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
What else?
But by God, let's make sure we have a 90-minute Talking Dead afterwards.
I know. And listen, you can tell.
Good passage.
Well, Passage was in there, but that Talking
Hashtag
Dead,
Passage.
they took all the stops out. They actually flew Andrew Lincoln. He never goes on that show ever, and they flew him out because they knew they'd be screwed up with that season finale. Like they were trying to make up a lot of sins there with that one. They got him.
Harvard was in it in the rain. He was talking.
Yeah, they're all in the rain. Exactly. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
He told him to curse. He said, "F that. You curse after what happened to the show." He said, "I'll just get in trouble. I don't care."
That's right.
It's very stormy in Southern California right now. So yes, it was very, and because they're at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Right.
I'm sure that's why he's like, I'm always on Twitter and I'm always seeing these great events going on in the cemetery. So I figured I figured that.
But he just, Andrew hates going to those things. He hates going to LA or hates going to those type of events. He just doesn't. He's forced to. I think they forced him to on this one.
He's probably contracted to like, he has like an obligation to like at least one or two
The big ones, right?
Yeah. Well, they made him do it. So before we get to our first Buster ratings for season 7, can we have a quick word from our sponsor, Jim? Would you do the honors talking about our lovely sponsor that keeps us on the podcast airwaves every week?
DCBService.com is where you want to go if you're looking for discount comic books, graphic novels, any kind of pop culture toys or items. It was my birthday recently, and I now have a collection of Funko Pops, so I'm looking for those as well.
Happy birthday
Thanks so much.
to Jim Dietz.
Thanks so much. But now I'm looking at Funko Pops, and now I have another money sink. So all DC and Marvel hardcovers and that's okay. All DC and Marvel hardcovers are 50% off. That includes the new collected editions that are coming out, the new Omnibuy, and the DC Universe Rebirth. The trades are starting to come out for that, so you can get them at 50% off. That's even cheaper than Amazon or some other sites. Not only comic books, as I said, if you're into The Walking Dead and you want to get the action figures, or you want to get a Michonne T-shirt, or you want to get the compendiums and catch up on the comics, you can do all those things at discount comic book service, DCBService.com. They have great customer service, great prices, and I don't know, I can't recommend them enough. DCBService.com.
Great, and they're an awesome sponsor to keep us going. Thank you for doing that, Jim. So let's talk about our Buster ratings, starting with you, Chubb.
Well, this one was a very tough one to rate because, like I said, I really enjoyed Morgan's Negan. I thought that he did a great job, and I I have very little complaints when it comes to most people's performances in this episode. Just the way they put it together, I didn't like. There was just a lot of little things, little nuances that just drove me up the wall. And again, a third of the episode goes by before they do the big reveal we've waited 6-7 months for. And I'm sorry, that was a bit shitty to do to us watchers, to us fans. I mean, it's one thing to do that cliffhanger the way they did it, but I was like, okay, that's cool. But then to have to go in and wait like we did, I get what they were going for, but to me, it seemed like their goal was more to jerk us, the audience, around and mess with our emotions than it was to actually tell the story. And because of that, I have to give it 2.5 busters as far as a television episode. But if I were to individually rate certain performances in the episode, it would be much, much higher.
Where can our listeners send hate mail to you? Where can that go?
I'm sorry. It just, you got to take, if you just disconnect and look at it from a television critical eye of storytelling, they failed.
Wow. Okay, so again, where can they send hate tweets to?
I feel they failed the story.
Whoa.
Well, that's it. Daryl, what was your buster rating?
I give it a 3 out of 5 buster rating. I did enjoy it, but I did enjoy the torture porn because that's basically what we got. We got torture porn, a whole episode of that, like it built up all the way from the last season finale. Like this is totally what it was. It was all about the torturing and like waiting to see who was going to die. But I mean, the character Negan, he pulled it off though. I mean, he is totally. In fact, he's even better. I think he's a better version of Negan than he ever was in the comics. So I mean, I did enjoy the episode. I mean, if I can go by just that, I enjoyed it tremendously.
Okay, Aaron.
I'm at 3 out of 5 busters. Like it's in spite of itself as far as the show goes, because I think there is a lot here as far as what I can get out of an episode of The Walking Dead. Now there's a higher factor going into it because it's a much anticipated season premiere, and it's going off of a very controversial season finale, and so you have all these things that are stacked along with it that make it raises your anticipation of what you're supposed to be getting out of it. Like I'm happy to praise both the good elements and criticize the bad elements, and yes, there are a lot of things that I found to be questionable as far as the structuring of the show, what it's trying to tell me. Is there any real purpose that I need to continue sticking with the show for? And there are a lot of things that I still want to stick with the show for, but as far as kind of a general statement of what the show is, I think it's a little muddled these days because I basically get it at this point. It's a very nihilistic world, but Rick is going to hope, and everyone else is going to hope along with him, with the possibility that things can rise up and we can get better. But for this episode in particular, I mean, it's well acted. The look of the show is always, as always, is solid. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan makes a tremendous impression, even if he has to ham it up. And he's the sole focus of this episode as far as dealing out a variety of ways to break down the various characters. Like that stuff is accomplished in a way that delivers on what a lot of people wanted. And what I wanted might have been something a little more substantive, but what I got is just okay. Like that's really what it comes down to. It's okay. It's kind of bland because there's only so many ways to go when you prolong an entire episode about killing people, as opposed to giving it more within it. So with all of that, I'm not quite as down as far as Jumptoad is, saying 2.5, but 3 feels fitting to me, and that's where I stand on it.
Very cool, Jim.
I guess we're going to go 3.5. I'm a big Jeffrey Dean Morgan fan, and I really liked his part in this. Not to go over the same ground like everyone else did, but I had some of the same issues that you all did as well. Something that bothered me, they kept having cutaways to each person in the group. Like it seemed like in each establishing shot, after each establishing shot, they just show each person in the group individually, and that was just like really visually jarring. I just felt like they didn't have to really do that. We all know who's there, especially when, like you said, when they use the footage of them all getting killed again at the end of the episode. It just stuff like that kind of takes me out of the story when I see it. It just is kind of unnecessary. Andrew Lincoln Sweatland should get their own separate Emmy because he just sweats so hard in this episode. But I really like Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it, and I think he is really like giving a soul to Negan that Negan didn't really have in the comics so much. And I liked his performance, and on that alone, and the decent zombie kill, pulling the body off of a hung zombie while trying not to get killed by other zombies at the bottom, that was pretty sweet. But I feel like the cliffhanger nature and the gimmicky nature they brought to like Glenn's death kind of cheapened the event for me. It kind of took away the impact it could have had. Even if they had done it at the end of last season, I still think they could have killed Abraham then and Glenn now, or exactly. It would have been out of the blue. Nobody would have expected them to kill 2 people, or and just to make it all about who's going to die, and then it kind of cheapens Steven Yeun's performance as a character all the way through by ending it that way. I really I think it would have been more impactful just to focus on Glenn as a character that we've gotten to know over time, and that's what really makes the death impactful rather than season premiere, let's see who's going to get it.
Especially after they jerked us back and forth with his maybe death last season.
Yeah, I thought it kind of took away the impact of like a major character's death. So
yeah,
but 3.5.
I'll give it a. I think the episode was a 3.5, but I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's performance elevated it to a 4 for me. I just fell in love with his character more and more. The way he was talking, the way even when he wasn't talking, just eyeballing Rick and his facial expressions, and he's such a likable villain now. I mean, if this was the governor, this was like David Morrissey doing this, we'd probably like 3.5 or 3.0. But the way Morgan handled himself in this episode elevated the whole thing to me. Even though we said the problems with the story and didn't really go anywhere, and everything was expected and all that. Again, I'll say it again. I think we've said it a few times. They should have killed one character last season, stopped the episode, broke it up, and we wouldn't have expected a second kill in this one. I remember. I mean, the most unexpected kills I can remember in this whole series was episode 3 when they were in the prison. Season 3, episode 3, whatever it was, when Laurie and T-Tog all got it, and we didn't expect that. Like, it was out of the blue. Right. We didn't think that those 2 main characters were going to go in season 3. I'm sorry, in episode 3 of the season. Like that was shocking to me. It was like, oh my god, and that's we so expected a death. They even trolled us, and we even expected 2 deaths if you listen to some of the producers and what they were talking about before the season aired. So it was cool. I like it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan elevated it to me. I can't wait to see more of him. I hope they really do focus on him a lot. He's such a great character, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. So 4.0 busters for me. But who cares what we think? We have an amazing Facebook group. Just go to facebook.com, do a search for the Walking Dead TV podcast. It's a group. You hit join group, we get you in. We have 785 members strong right now, and you can leave your very own buster ratings for The Walking Dead, or on Fear the Walking Dead, we call them Toby ratings. And we had many comments. I think this was, more than I've seen for almost any episode ever. We're going to take our time to get through them, with Jim will actually, since the honor is always his when Jim is on the show. But thank you so much, everyone, for leaving those comments. It makes the show that much better. And Jim, I'll turn it over to you. What do our listeners have to say?
Well, as you mentioned, we got a lot of comments. Starting with David B. the Third, 5 eyes right out of his head out of 5. I tried hard to find a critical moment of each scene to correspond how the finale left us hanging, but so far, I cannot think of one single scene or plot point that was bad. How can they follow this episode? I'm really all I can think of are future episodes. A lot of people really like this episode a lot. Pamela Burton, that was just so torturous to watch. I'm so emotional and upset. I don't know if it's possible to give it a rating. It was brutal. Rest in peace, two great characters. Shayla Benzaviga makes a good point. I was still pissed they didn't do that as a season finale. It would have upset me having more of an emotional impact if they did it then. But having 6 months to get ready for it, I just didn't care anymore. Joe Slusher, 5 out of 5 Black Sharpies. Had gotten all the spoilers beforehand and still watched in suspense the whole time. Good episode. DeRay Irvin, 5 days. The amount of time I'll continue to cry after this episode.
Aw.
Big Glenn fan or Abraham fan, I guess. Tom Bono, OMG, 1,000 freaking Lucille Bats for tonight's episode. I don't think I was breathing the entire episode. Wow, there's some enthusiasm for you. Tarek Anwar, 5. I can't say anything clever, but oh my god, out of 5, I am speechless. Tarek Craig, 5 Emmy Awards, Golden Globe Awards for Andrew Lincoln on this episode. Andrew Lincoln fan, eh? He knocked out of the park. Someone called Planet Mars for the ball back. They were all phenomenal, most intense, emotional, hardcore hour of TV that I've ever watched. Wow.
Nice.
Hyperbole is astounding. Mark Barthelmess, 5 bloody ball bats. The cast and crew literally knocked it out of the park this episode. Oh, I see what you did there, Mark. Very clever. Long-time listener, Mike Jones, 5 head and shoulders out of 5. The Abe kill was somewhat of a lame death and Glenn was predictable. Rick being broken down and being on the verge of doing that to his child chilled me to the bone. I can't even put more words into it. Brad Milo, former co-host of the Walking Dead TV podcast.
Milo!
Easy now. Hold him down. Simply 5 busters. That's it.
That's high praise. I mean, that's coming from Brad.
He's the one who named him Buster, so I mean, you can't get any higher praise than that. Charles Emmett, 5. Bloody Brain Matter staying Louisville Sluggers out of 5. Brent Jones, 5. Oh, that is gross out of 5. Incredible seeing Rick become broken while entertained by Negan at the same time. Max Silver, 5 hatchets out of 5. The deaths were well done. That eyeball was perfect. Ugh. And Negan's speeches were on point, but man, the way he broke Rick down, that's what made it a 5. Mary Tarpecchia, I need 5 Xanaxes out of 5. Might be one of the best episodes today. Can't imagine anyone else playing Negan now. Now I'm looking forward to more interaction between him and Rick and others. Carl Hooker says 5, suck my nuts out of 5. I felt the tension all the way down to my toes in this one. Seeing the RV with the clouds haziness made it seem more like a dream than a nightmare. Bravo, Nicotera, Gimple, and crew. Susan Mum's 4.5 therapist to help me through PTSD out of 5. That was effing intense. I need to watch some Project Runway before I sleep tonight. Adam Fatah, 5 out of 5 T-Dogs. Yeah, old school shout out for T-Dog.
T-Dog.
It was a great season premiere. I hope they keep the momentum going in the next coming episodes. Ian Rossell, 5 frontal lobes out of 5. I for one enjoyed the cliffhanger last season and spending 6 months hankered down in a bunker. It's not to get any spoilers. I enjoyed. I'm so glad you did that. I did that too. I was not spoiled in any way. I had friends. Johnny Storrs is 5 Vampire Bats out of 5. Great episode. I was on the fence about Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Negan, but now I'm on the train. This season is going to be great. No new showrunner needed on the show. Looking forward to the podcast and season. Well, thank you, sir.
Is he the same commenter that suggested that Fear the Walking Dead should definitely get a new show?
Yeah, see, there's a period in there. I knew period showrunner. Yeah, that's him.
Rob Cook says, had to watch this at 6:30 a.m. on Monday morning to avoid spoilers. Not the best way to start a Monday. Yeah. Most of my Monday started that way anyway, Rob said. 5 brutal brain batterings out of 5. Very alliterative. We also have a guy here who's a Winnebago man.
Oh, this is hilarious. The video.
Go to the group and check it out because I cannot do it justice by explaining it.
I haven't seen this video in like years. I remember it. It's funny that he played it because it's perfect.
There's a documentary about him too. I think it was on Netflix for a while. Chris Pierce, who posted it, said I give it 4 out of 5 angry Winnebago mans. I'm pretty sure this is Negan's dad. Tammy Heisley, totally speechless, but this episode is a solid 5. Let's see, David J. Gregg. I already unsubscribed to the podcast in the last few episodes of last season. Well, then you won't be listening to this, David.
Yeah, because you're not hearing it. So there's a lot of nuance in this episode too. We covered a lot of things, but yeah.
I just watched the season premiere. I wondered if I should give you guys a second chance. We will see. As far as the new episode, I give it the highest of praise. As good an episode as can get. And honestly, they earned the non-revealing finale of last season, so there's no way they could have shown us anything and had this episode work this well. So kudos. I don't understand half of that. Negan is by far the best TV villain ever, and quickly living up to his comic counterpart. 10 effing stars. Okay. Andrew Park, 4 stretch neck busters out of 5. Acting directing was excellent. I would give it a 5, but the whole episode made me very anxious. So I'm putting it down purely because of how it made me feel. Eric Fager, 5 out of 5. Wait all summer for 45 minutes of beatdown. All you cliffhanging whiners, please sit down. If you're gonna break Rick again, you're gonna have to break him 4 or 5 times. Robert Nago, 3 out of 5 standards and practices memo. He said how much he enjoyed Aaron's young folks review, but he didn't care for this episode very much for a lot of the same reasons. And I would read the whole thing, but just go to the group yourself. Robert had a lot of good thoughts about how he felt about this episode. A lot of people agreed with him in this thread. Richard Chopper Cherry Charrington, I'm happy to say your name again, sir. 5, anyone got an hospital splitting headache out of 5. Potentially the best ever episode of The Walking Dead I've ever seen. I was literally on the edge of my seat. I would buy a bigger chair. Karen Shee, I'm simple ref right now, dark intense round, perhaps too gratuitous and better than the season 6 finale. Or better as.
Yeah, better as
the season 6 finale. Somebody give Andy Lincoln an Emmy already for 4.5 busters. We can get through this together, guys. We can only get through it together. Jimmy Tucker, 4.0 busters. I was a little surprised by Lucille striking twice. It'll be interesting how to see the group moves forward from there. Scott Holman, 3 out of 5 busters. I'm not buying the Rise of the Savior story arc to begin with. I find it hard to believe that this group has so many soldiers at this point in the apocalypse. I'm really not looking forward to the next episodes at all. Oh, let's do that. And Janet Broom, 4.5. Shut up, Rick. Was really annoyed by Rick. Why would you threaten the guy who just beat 2 of your family bloody pulps?
That's right.
Violence and gore was a little over the top. Not so much the amount, but how long they showed both guys being beaten. Glenn's death was traumatic. I also felt that after the whole dumpster thing, I wasn't impacted as much by Glenn's death as I had been when I thought he died last season. And if you would like to have your thoughts and buster ratings immortalized in our podcast, then by all means, join our group, the Walking Dead TV podcast group. We'll be happy to have you aboard, and you can tell us what you think about the next episode.
I want to ask a question to Chump Toad.
Okay.
Would you consider yourself a hardcore fan of The Walking Dead?
Maybe. I mean, I'm a big fan. I don't know about hardcore.
I think yes would be the answer, right? And we're doing a podcast on it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I just asked that because I would say I'm a hardcore fan of The Walking Dead, and I'm very aware that I don't think the show's perfect. I think everyone's aware that I don't think the show is perfect. That's again less of a fan, that just makes me being realistic. And I'm very much happy to see all the various responses on the Facebook page. There's obviously a lot of warmth in this episode as far as ratings go, not necessarily the actions that take place. And I completely respect every single one of them. I'm very happy to myself write these reviews I do for the episodes, and I don't make any buts about what I'm trying to say, nor do I try to want to tell anyone what to think about a show. I'm certainly trying to provide my opinion. But I asked Chump Toad that because he didn't like the episode.
Well, no, that's just the thing is I did like the episode. I'm just was looking at it from a storytelling point.
Okay.
I felt that they really it seemed to me they were more focused on screwing with the audience's emotions than getting the story unfolded in a way that was palatable. Because to me, the dragging out that they did for the hour was not necessary. But I feel that they painted themselves into that corner because of the way they ended season 6. Because they had to have this reveal, and it would be hard to have an after the reveal and still fill an hour and have it digestible by your audience. So what they did was they drug it out through the fog and keep playing all these little clips of they shot and just, get to it. They should have. Here's the thing: when it comes to hangers, I look at like Star Trek: Next Generation has the gold standard, in my opinion, as far as Locutus aboard. Okay,
Yeah.
but when we ended that season, going into that summer, it wasn't who's gone, who's now a Borg. It's not like we knew it was Picard that was gone. We knew that with that last shot that he had been turned into a Borg. Now we were waiting for the season to come back. Because what are we going to do? What's Riker's plan going to be? How are they going to figure this out? How are we going to get out of this pickle? That whole thing. But this was who did they kill? And then you wait 20 damn minutes to tell me?
Yeah, enough. Right.
That's where I drew the line. He drew the line on Carl's arm. I drew it right there.
But what I'm getting at is that among the 5 of us, obviously we have a varying amount of opinions on this episode.
Thank God, this would be a really boring show.
Exactly, it would be a boring show.
Lack of nuance. Yes.
Because and so I'm happy to participate in these conversations with you guys. It's a lot of fun every time we do these. I'm certainly happy to look at all the various responses on the Facebook page.
Are you resigning or something?
I'm not resigning. I just want to point out that as we we're coming back from Fear the Walking
Are you
Dead.
dying? I mean,
We're coming back from Fear the Walking Dead, which we were not that big on. We've come out various seasons of The Walking Dead, which we're mostly pretty positive about. I mean, that's because we don't think we keep doing the show for like 7 seasons. We didn't have some kind of respect for the show. So I look forward to moving on in this season. And I look forward to hearing all your guys' various opinions on it, because that's certainly what a lot of this is about, is having a discourse to go over these episodes and talking about what works and what doesn't.
Yep, makes it fun. You're absolutely right. Well, I certainly had fun. It's good to be back again in the main Walking Dead universe, and it's going to be a great season, I think. So we can all stay tuned for that. Any other final thoughts, guys, or we just wrap it up?
Let's get to Carol and Morgan already.
Yeah, well, it looks like in the preview they're in the kingdom, right? That's where they're going to be next week. So we'll see what happens. All right, cool. So just to recap, where can our listeners find us when we're not doing the Walking Dead TV podcast? Chubtoad, what about you?
Well, generally, I'm in Michigan.
Generally.
I mean,
yes.
Twitter at Chubtoad01, Instagram at Chubtoad01, Facebook Chubtoad01, email Chubtoad01@gmail.com.
All hate mail can go directly there, please. Thank you.
One last comment, really quick. One last comment. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I just want to make sure people understand that. I'm just looking at it from a critical standpoint.
It's good. No, you're
allowed.
It's America, baby. You can have your opinion. Yeah.
You heard it right there.
Richard, you talk about
Richard-
your opinion on a podcast.
Yeah.
How dare you, sir?
Richard Chubtoad Sheldon hates Batman v Superman. You all heard it. We can move on.
No!
Jerk, I'm getting my letter right now.
Objection, Your Honor.
So glad the record has been cleared. Thank you.
Daryl, what about you?
You get to hear me on many other podcasts, on the Taylor Darker podcast, and you could also follow my Twitter, The Voice123, and kind of check out what I'm doing.
Excellent. Aaron?
You can find me writing about things that I may or may not be fit to write about over on DakotaSeeks.com, as well as on.
Come on.
I'm also writing at Screen Rants daily over there. You can follow me on Twitter at AaronTS4. There's also the other podcast I host, Out Now with Aaron and Abe, where my co-host Abe and I discuss the latest new movies. And all month long this October, we'll be doing a bunch of bonus horror episodes, which have been a lot of fun, talking about various genres of horror. So feel free to check those out on iTunes.
The last one was comedic horror movies, right?
Yeah, horror comedy movies.
Yeah,
A
Evil
lot of
Dead, Young Frankenstein.
a lot of good recommendations if you're a horror fan looking for a lot of new obscure picks in the various genres of horror.
I love how you try to be humble, Aaron, whenever you are billed as the Beyonce of critics. I mean,
What?
Does that even mean?
I don't know.
I don't even know what he's going for there.
Drop reviews without a moment's notice.
Wow.
Jim, how about you?
You can check me out on the DCTV podcast at hhwlod.com. Also do Nothing's On with Daryl and Donnie over at the Taylor Network podcast. My Twitter is at Yoda Jones, all one word.
Excellent. It's great to have you back, Jim. We definitely miss you. And if you want to listen to my other podcast, I'm the host of the one and only Auto Chat Show, autochatshow.com, facebook.com/Auto Show. Me and my co-host Eddie review new cars, so you don't have to. We do interviews of auto executives, different types of products out there, review new cars. It's definitely fun and interesting and all that good stuff. So please check us out at Auto Chat Show on all the Instagrams and Twitters and all that kind of stuff. We're also doing on the HWLD network of series of Star Trek podcasts. So we're actually gearing up for the next one, which will be installment 7, discussing Star Trek Enterprise. So that should be a good one.
Yay.
Yeah. So for all you Star Trek fans out there, you can listen to Chubb, Jim. You've been on a few of them. Daryl definitely, and it's been great on the HWLD master feed. So subscribe to the master feed. That way you can get DCTV and The Walking Dead and our Star Trek specials and everything else half hour wasted all in one nice little condensed feed. So check that out on your device of choice. So until there's no more room in hell and the dead walk the earth, remember, you better remember who you work for, because Lucille is one thirsty girl. Take care, folks.